I don't even know.
I
I'm
don't know
old.
either.
I'm 46
I
and I don't know
know.
what the fuck is happening, you know?
We're trying to keep up. We're trying to keep
Hmm.
up. But I noticed that a lot of people kind of yearn for what it once was. And it's hard to go
Yeah.
back to that. And we want the nostalgia, but we're going, let's kind of go back to word of mouth. Let's go back
Yeah.
to, these sort of small communities of, yesterday I went to a small punk show that was out in the parking lot of a Denny's. Stuff
Yeah.
like that is still going on.
And
And
I think that the younger
yes,
generation, the people who are like teens and 20s, whatever generation we're on now,
I know.
like they're fucking feral, man. I do not make it my business to hang around with 20 somethings very often because it's like a little fucking
You
weird.
feel
But
weird
like,
about being the old person that, yeah, I get
yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Where it's like I'm very happy for you to be doing what you're doing, but there is this sense of just like, oh, like you have never lived in a world that wasn't ending,
Yes.
and you are just feral now. Like you're throwing bizarre cross genre house shows and like I don't even know what genre a lot of this is in, but it's just like it's and I'm like I appreciate this, you
Yeah.
know. I'm like I appreciate it from afar and I'm glad that it's there, but in a weird way it's this thing where it's just like I really like I would just love to hang out around this, like, and just know that, like I just for the sake of hanging out around this, you know. But I'm like, this is not, this is not my place, you know.
It was funny because I popped up there, and I usually, if I go to a local show, I'll try to bring my kids along just so they can kind of uh, experience
Yeah,
culture, what it once was. I mean, it's still there, but it's like, hey, this is kind of what I went to. I went to these old punk shows and hardcore shows and small venues and this, and just kind of that was my, and I'm kind of bring them with me just to go experience this. But I pop in just because it's like I know the bands. I've interviewed
yeah.
them. I've had them on my podcast. I'm here to show my support. And sometimes you'll get the look of like, who's this old guy here? But I'm just going, no, no, I'm okay. Like I'm not.
I think if you're there with kids, it probably makes it a little bit better, you
Yeah, it
know.
makes it
It's
easier.
like I am just a parent. I am educating
Yes.
my children.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. It's like, I mean, I grew up you know, the late 90s to hardcore scene that I grew up in, you know, I grew up in a tiny little town in Idaho called Blackfoot, Idaho.
Wow.
And we were the smaller town 20 miles away from the big city, which was Idaho Falls or Pocatello, you know. And Pocatello had ISU, Idaho State University, and so there was to some degree that was where like there were older people in their late teens and early 20s in college who were like punks and stuff, you know. And so there was something of a scene there that was where I was going to, and there was like, you know, house shows or like VFW
Oh
hall
yeah.
type
Oh,
stuff,
those are
you know.
great. Yeah.
And
Hotel
there were like,
hotel like shows where
oh
they had
yes, hotel lobby,
yeah,
yeah, the
hotel lot. Yeah,
fucking
those little
the
banquet halls.
Shiloh
Yeah.
Inn in Pocatello having a punk show, and it was the one punk show it had.
Yes.
But it, yeah, and so it was this very cobbled together kind of thing. But the thing that was interesting was is that like my introduction to a lot of it was actually when I was a non-Mormon kid in a very Mormon
Yes.
place, you
Yeah.
know. My parents were from around Philadelphia,
Hmm.
and so culturally, I was just raised very differently. And I was a fat kid, and I couldn't keep my mouth shut.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I from the ages of 7 to 13, I got every shade of shit beaten out of me you could possibly imagine. And it really fucked me up, honestly.
Yeah.
I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I can
Yeah.
laugh
Hmm.
about it now, but it really fucked me up. And eventually, I had a kind of a mental breakdown. You know, I mean, this is one of the origin stories of the fact that I have like borderline personality
Right.
disorder now. You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my parents ended up finally they're like, we don't know what the fuck to do because this is like daily gang beatings now going on, and they ended up sending me to this like it was the only private school in the area, like, and it was in Idaho. It was in Pocatello, where
Hmm.
the university was, and it was like a Lutheran school, and they're like, yeah, the Lutherans, cool, like
Oh.
Lutherans are like Garrison Keeler, you know, and they didn't read the fine print that it was like evangelical Lutheran.
I'm sorry, I don't
Uh,
mean to laugh, but I know, I get it. I grew up in the church setting, so I understand. Keep going.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to
And
laugh,
it
but
ended up because we were like liberal Catholics, you know.
yeah,
We were very like, and the Catholic Church that I grew up in was like very heavily Latino,
yeah.
and so
Wow.
it was very concerned with like poverty and how we take care of one
Take care of
another,
the
and
poor, and yeah,
like that kind of stuff, like the shit it's supposed to be about, right?
yes, it should be about
Um,
that. Yeah,
and so I was like, this was the first time I had really encountered like some god buried dinosaur bones to test our faith, or maybe it was Satan. And Gandhi it went to hell because he never accepted Jesus as his personal savior, and like all of this stuff. And it was the first place where I was just sort of like, wait a minute, hold on, like if you're gonna go out of your way to believe in God, why the fuck would you believe that this psychotic fucking child is what God is? Like, why? Which ended up being its own, beginning its own
yep,
journey.
yep.
Point being, though, this is the very long way around the
No,
barn.
please, yep,
I
yap it up. This is what it's for. So go for
My
it.
parents like paid this college student to drive me to school every day because he lived in our town and he went to school down there. And it's this guy Anthony, and Anthony was like the quintess he was from Texas, and he was like the quintessential pre Nirvana, like what a punk
Yeah.
was, where he like in that car I heard, Susie and the Banshees and the Pixies and RuPaul and
Wow.
Alison Moyet and like Yaz and fucking the Misfits and and he went to like raves on weekends, and he like had like his like like punk jacket with the studs and everything and stuff, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is at a certain point, it was just this sort of amalgamated weirdo, where I feel like, for the whatever good like early real grunge is and everything, like there was a certain like once that became like a mainstream thing, you got these like hyper specific um sort of scenes within alt culture
Yeah.
where, and I'm sure there was some degree there was some of that too, but there was like this place where like, yeah, like the raver kids and the goth kids and the punk kids and the like queer kids and the like everything kind of crossed over with each other.
Yeah.
And it was a really like I am really thankful that that was my introduction to
Like
punk
a, it's like that
in a
weird
lot of
guide that
ways.
comes to you and like in the middle of a video game where it's like, here, I got all this
Yeah,
lore,
yeah,
bro.
yeah.
And you're
He
just
was
like,
like
wait,
the
what?
he was like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the
Yeah,
situation. And he didn't even mean to be. He was just
I
playing his
know.
music in the car, you
Yeah.
know. And it was but I still, I had heard I had seen, because I was a fucking, nerd, and I was so into like the Batman movies, the Tim
Yeah.
Burton Batman movies,
Oh,
and seeing like the Susie and the Banshees face to face video
yeah.
was just this very like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
something's happening here. It's like I talk about this in relation to the Nagel thing too with the album, where it's just like seeing something when you're young and you don't know that you're genderqueer,
Yeah.
and it is this like combination of like, oh, that's really hot, I'm really attracted to that, but then also underneath it it's like, I want to fucking be that,
Right.
like, like
Yes.
I am both into that
Yeah.
and I want to be that thing.
So cool. Oh, wow. That is
So
wild.
but then in that car I listened to, a ton of like Susie and the Banshees and stuff, and like the song like Kiss Them for me still to this day, like I have this like gut like attachment to the joy of that song, that I'm like, someday I want to make a song that is that like purely like joyful, and I haven't yet, but maybe someday I'll figure it
I think you're on your way there.
out.
Let's go ahead and hop into
Mhm.
Hope and Hell. Terrific album. I can't stop listening to it. Thank
Ah,
you
thank you.
for sharing it with me. Tell me about the album, and then we'll kind of go back to all the blood you wanted, because
Yeah.
there's some relation, but there's kind of this like I took notes and I said that All the Blood You Wanted is like, I immediately thought of Depeche Mode's Dark Celebration, where it's a very heavy
Yeah.
album. It's
Yeah.
very heavy, very dark. I think you're kind of you came out with guns blazing, going, "This is it." You know, this is I'm here on stage slicing my wrist, and you're all just gonna have to
Yeah.
deal with this. And but then there was this sort of sound shift, and I don't you kind of kept with the same sort of lyrics, and you kind of kept with the same kind of lyric style with Hope and Hell, but it's kind of a little bit more like Paul. I'm sorry, I'm yapping. Go ahead and kind of
No, you're
jump
good.
into
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah.
and Hell, and not just that, but
Yeah.
how about working with Jeffrey and
Hmm.
talk about the album art direction that you went with this album. I don't
Yeah.
mean to kind of
Yeah.
throw all that, but sometimes I
No,
lose
no,
my
you're
track of
good. You're
mind. So
good.
with this album, kind of jump into all the things that came with Hope and Hell.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's sort of Venn diagram songs on
Hmm.
Hope and Hell where it's like this could have been there's a few songs that could have been on the first album because like on the first album you have songs like Weird,
Hmm.
which are very much like which could be on this album,
Yeah.
and so there's sort of some crossover there. But I mean, my I've made this joke before. It's funny now that I've never done more than one interview for anything before, so I'm like, you're repeating yourself, but it's a good
Okay. Yeah.
metaphor.
Hmm.
I always joke that, I'm basically going from 30 frames a second, Simple Minds,
Hmm.
to Don't You Forget About Me, Simple Minds, in the space of like one album.
Yes.
Like, I'm just speed running that pipeline. I'm just like, nope, we're not going to have anything in between. Just going to go straight for it.
Go for it. It's
Um,
great.
and yeah, I mean, the first album, it was the first time I'd ever made all of the stuff I've been in. I mean, I've been making music since I was 16.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been playing with bands.
Yeah.
And
We'll
I've done
jump into that.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is the first project I've had that is first off like purely solo,
Mhm.
in terms of all the writing and everything, and also isn't guitar based. Everything else is like had been like me playing guitar, sometimes me playing bass, but me playing guitar and like being one of like many lead singers or something like that, and primarily writing lyrics and music and stuff for a project. And so this was the first time that I was like kind of learning and like a lot, like even before the pandemic, but then really during the pandemic I kind of dug into it because I had time
Time on your
to.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so where it was like at first I had started off just making I use Reason, which
Yeah. Me
the
too.
music
I'm a
prop.
reason
Yeah.
hound. Yes. 100%.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's like we're rare but we're
Yes.
special. um
I love it. That's where I cut my teeth. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I did for it's I don't even know what I would have to do if I had to go to another program. But
Yep.
the point is that I was initially just starting to make just like drum tracks for demos,
Yep.
just like, oh, okay, here's drum, and then I started adding more and more instruments to the demos to be like, oh, okay, well, I might want real strings here, so I'll do like these fake strings as a placeholder. I'll do this, and the more that I started playing with it and learning how it worked, and I was just like, oh, this is actually so much more fun in some ways to do this
Hmm.
than it is where you're kind of sky's the limit to a
Hmm.
certain extent, and I had always loved like danceable, gothy, darkwave music, but and you can do that with like a live band, but there is certain things that you sort of need the electronic element to, especially in modern darkwave stuff.
Sure.
It's just so much more electronic, and it's there are tones you can't get easily out of a real instrument,
Agree. Agree. Yep.
and it ended up being really fun to play in that sandbox.
Exciting.
And initially I was making like kind of gothy dance stuff, but I was also making more like upbeat Synthpop type stuff. And I, you know, as we sort of like came out of the worst part of the pandemic, and I knew I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna ever like do this live because it's just like, what is it gonna be,
Yeah, it's a
And
weird
I
gamble where you're like, I'm just a guy with the backtracks. Like you got to find
Yeah,
your place in that because believe me, I struggled with that in the
yeah.
late
Well, and
2000s. I was like, nah. So,
but I ended up having like a few bands in town that I'm friends with, and I had ended up playing a show with a couple of them where both of them were bands that were like two singers and backing tracks.
mhm.
There's something about having two singers on stage that gives it like a buy-in, you know?
Sure.
It's like,
Yeah, I get that.
okay, this is real, you know. And I played some of my guitar stuff with them that night. And then also for the very first time did like the couple of the songs
Mhm.
with the backing tracks. And it went over well and it felt really good. And I was like, well, shit, I could do this.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I ended up it was sort of, I had this whole list of songs. Some of the songs that are on Hope in Hell, like I wrote, well, at least the music for,
Mhm.
like, pretty early into doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, it probably makes the most sense to have a sort of a consistent tone to
Sure.
some of this, you
Yeah.
know, which ended up being the tone of that first album, you know, and it's like very, very kind of like um, dark
It's
and
heavy. It's a
sad
heavy
and
album. Yeah.
horny, and you know, it's everything that you want out of goth, dark and sad and horny, you know,
Exactly. 100%.
and political
Mhm. And personal, like,
and
dealing with
personal
the
and
mental
queer,
health
you
shit.
know,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. And so, and it just ended up like, yeah, I don't know. It just, it's so strange. I'm like, I don't even, I couldn't tell you how I wrote some of them now. You're just sort of like stumbling into things, moving MIDI dots
Just
around,
kind of
you know?
everything's flowing out of you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I mean, and I'm an idiot when it comes to, even after using it for so many years, I'm like, I don't know what half the shit in Reason does. I'm just like, I figured out how to make it work for me, you know?
Exactly. That's
Um,
exactly how I am. So I wish I could like learn it like another language where I'm going, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm still like every new update, I'm just like, oh shit. So now I gotta
yeah.
relearn
Yeah,
different
no,
stuff.
exactly. Like, or it stops like working for a little while sometimes.
Oh,
Like I'm like, yeah, I gotta like wait for the update after that update to fix whatever that update did.
yep.
Anyways, but that's its own whole
That's
thing.
a
I
whole
still
nother
love
story,
Reason.
right?
Yeah. But yeah, and so it was just kind of it it ended up just a few different things sort of converged at the same time to make that what it was. And also um I I don't know. I was dating someone at the time who was a kind of like just a musical repository for so much stuff. Like they just were an apps. They were just had a brain, you know, that like had a very wide ranging taste, you
Wow.
know, and stuff. And knew a lot. And so I was sort of like excitedly like listening to playlists that they made and everything, you know. And there was a certain degree of like I'm gonna do the thing that I think is gonna impress this person, you
Oh,
know.
dude.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
like
Because
a bit of
yep,
that, well,
yep.
because and this is the thing. There's a certain degree of like I am ADHD hard when it comes to genre, you know.
Yep.
Like I have played everything from like I have like put together bands that are everything from like traditional ska to like Clash-esque punk to like Pixies type shit to fucking Nick Cave Doom Americana to like I've been all over the fucking map. And so like in some ways it's really nice to have like a reason to focus
Yep.
your, you know, and you know, when you're like somebody, you're trying to make something that you know, it
That
ends
they
up being
like. Oh my
outstanding.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been there. Yep.
Well, and it's funny too because it's like, I mean, I could I Weird Al is like a huge influence
Me
for
too.
me.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, like that, I feel like I genuinely like learned how to write songs
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
Um, with the like, especially the stylistic parodies,
Hmm.
you know, where it's like things like Dare to Be Stupid and stuff, where he's not doing a specific song, he's doing Devo,
Devo. 100%
and
Devo.
he's
It
doing
sounds
like,
more
I mean,
Devo than Devo sometimes. It was
Mark
weird. Yeah.
Mothersbaugh said that like he wanted to murder him because he had written the best Devo song ever
Oh,
written and he hadn't. And they're friends. Like he was, of course, being Mark. You know, he was
of
being
course.
funny, but it was
Mark's
like,
Mark. Yeah.
yeah, Mark is gonna Mark. Um, but yeah, but I feel like I could point at like, you know, any song on that album or some others and be like, that's my Weird Al stylistic
Mhm.
parody of, you know, obviously there's like four Depeche Mode songs, you know, like, um, but there was yeah, one of the ones on the Rat King was
Hmm.
actually like that was like a sort of a funny little homework assignment where I was like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of like I feel like there's a lot of like Gary Newman or Susie or Depeche Mode or like it's all like old stuff. And I'm like, I listen to new things, but I don't know how to like write in that like
In that
milieu
style.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were like, I feel like you could write a health song. And I was like, all right,
Like
like
the band
challenge
health. The band
accepted.
health.
The band
Yeah,
Health,
the band
yeah.
health. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so like that Rat King is like me being like, gonna write a health song now. Like
That's cool.
and if you listen to it, like it's like, yeah, that's pretty
It
much
sounds like a health song. Yeah, you're
that's the
right.
Weird Al stylistic parody of a health song. And that's like, I don't know. I get a kick out of that. I
Yeah.
have I have fun doing that. I think that there's also things that like, mesh together genre shit that's more my own thing and I can do that, but it's like that's also just the way my brain works. I'm just like I'm old enough and self-aware enough to know like there's my influences, you
Yes.
know, they are right there on my sleeve.
Right on there. Yep. Oh, that's
Not gonna pretend that I'm not working in the realm of pastiche to some
that's
extent.
okay. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But you make it sound good. You make it sound like it's your own still. It doesn't sound like you're cookie cutting or anything. You know what I
Thank
mean?
you. I try to. Well,
And
and I
it's
try to make I think that especially in the lyrics and stuff, I'm trying to make it something that is deeply um genuine
yeah,
and personal
it
and isn't just
sticks.
sort of like a tone poem of
Yeah.
horny darkness, you
Well,
know?
even with Rat King, you have this line, and it sticks with me so much because it rings so true. Is please leave, but don't leave me alone.
Please leave me alone, please don't leave me alone. Like I
Yeah,
mean that is
it's
the quintessential that is the cry of borderline personality disorder,
it's
you
heavy,
know?
and it just went
Yeah,
wow.
thank
Like
you. Yeah.
it's always been there, but hearing you, I just went whoa. Like it's heavy, and
That
again,
is
I'll
the
keep
effect I
saying
want to have, you know? I mean, I want to like crack something over open at people. I want to like break their heart,
yeah,
in some small way that is recoverable from, but
of
like,
course.
I don't know how to do otherwise, and that and
Yeah.
a lot of that album was this very it was that in a way that was very like sort of bludgeoning, I guess, maybe. Like was it or at least it was more sort of like presentational and more I
Did you
don't know
feel like you
what
had more freedom to be like, this is all me? Like I understand, like some artists when they're working with other bands or projects or something, they go, I don't know if I want to bring this up. I don't know if I should lay this out. I don't know if I'm comfortable enough to kind of
yeah.
open my diary in front of them. And with this, it felt like you were just like, this is it.
I
You
think
know?
I've always had a certain degree of like it's all I know how to do
Sure.
is
Okay.
just sort of crack the rib cage open and pour it out.
Yeah.
I think there definitely was maybe more like musically a lot of the time, when I've worked with other people in bands, the limitation is like I'm hearing 9 parts
Hmm.
and there's only 4 people, you know and so and even getting into I mean I remember when I was in this punk band called Mia Culpa in the early 2000s and like we put an album out on a label. Nobody fucking remembers us,
That's
but
okay.
like we when we got into the studio I was just like okay, like, well, I want to do this other guitar part and I want to do this here, and the other guys were like, well, we're not going to do that live, so like it shouldn't be on the album.
Oh,
And it's like, okay,
right. So I can't just put this up, put the art like
there
I
can't
would
be a
never.
different version that's live. Like the
Right.
live version can't be different. And it
Right.
was just like, and I just ran into that, like I like that band in particular, but it was always sort of a certain trying to filter everything going on in my head, through other people
Yeah.
without, being the fucking dictator about it. And there's a certain like I miss collaboration. I really love collaboration. I love like I would honestly love to play guitar or something in someone else's project that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in charge of, you know?
Yep. Of
And I've done some collabs with other people and it's really fun, you know?
course.
But like there is a certain degree of just like I know what I'm doing, you know? I
Mm-hmm.
have at least one more album in me of it's like this is me doing it this way, you
Cool.
know?
Yeah.
And I don't after that, you know, it may turn into something else, but like um but yeah, and I think though that I what doing that first album I had not done a music project really for almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And uh and there was a lot of hesitancy or fear around that. Um and I think that I don't know, there was like a lot of a backlog of things that I hadn't dealt with
Of course.
musically
Yeah. Of course.
to do. And so and a lot of it was like fairly dark, you know, and so it was kind of like and fairly raw, you know. I mean, I had in that interim of time, I had gotten diagnosed with bipolar and borderline, you know, I had gotten sober, you know, the pandemic had happened, like there was a lot of just like, you know, a lot I was an extremely different person from the last time I had stepped off stage with a band, you
Yeah. For
know.
sure. Yeah.
And so it was yeah, it was and I think that the difference between that album and Hope and Hell there's a certain degree of like, you know, I had after I chose all the songs for Hope and Hell, I had like two albums worth of other songs basically. One of it was a bunch of songs for Hope and Hell, and the other one is for what's gonna be the third album now,
Cool.
which is this way weirder concept album
I love it.
going back to like kind of dark, almost like classic goth rock thing.
Sweet.
Um, and I have no idea how that's gonna land. But I was sort of like, well, which one do I do?
Sure.
And there was a certain part of me that was just sort of like, I need something a little lighter,
Yeah. I
you
get.
know, with every the way that the world is. Like, I
Mhm.
need to, if I had to like, you know, I don't know, I need to like find some sort of lightness in this right now.
Yeah.
And this, at least musically, has a lot more light in it, you know?
Yeah.
And that also feels like a better way to process what I'm feeling about the world right now than to just like, you know, write another horrific, which like I mean, that song should just be called Stone Cold Bummer, you know? And I wrote that before the fucking 2024 election. You know, that was where I was before
Yeah.
that election. Like,
Damn. Yeah.
and so it's like, but I'm like, I can't live in that space
Mm-mm.
for the months it will take to finish writing and you know producing this album. And
Yeah.
so yeah, and I feel like there's a certain degree of like I like the juxtaposition of this very high key 80s synth pop
Oh, I love
kind
it.
of stuff
Mm-hmm.
with this very, you know, brutal
Honesty.
and like very dark, you know, like political stuff that isn't like anthemic, like we're gonna fucking revolution. It's like I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen here. I have no clue. We do not know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We are auto cannibalizing ourselves constantly. Um, and I am no more yeah, I got no fucking clue. I got no
Oh,
fucking
cool.
clue what is going on.
We've been through so many shifts in our lifetime between the Bushes, the Clintons. Um, Obama was like, okay, and then it just
Yeah.
went. Where the fuck is this shit going now? Like,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
hodgepodge, and because most of the time you can kind of go, okay, kind of see where this is going, but it was just like
Well,
politically
and
and
even it's like even like I was talking when I wrote my own private Weimar, that was in like 2004.
yeah,
That was during the 2004 election. And
yeah.
then it was like, well, it can't get worse than this. And then in 2024 I was like, I don't know how to even write about this. And I was like, oh yeah, I wrote a song about this 20 years ago that's actually like better
More
for
relevant.
now.
Yeah,
And but the thing was is that it was like that was like evil, but
yeah.
it was like smart evil. It was
Hmm.
evil that sort of knew what it was doing to a certain extent. Like it knew, okay, you can take it this far. You
Hmm.
know, it was Nixonian in its evil, which is not, you know, which fucks you just as badly in a lot of ways, but it's like, but this is like just, it's like someone stumbling drunk into the room at a party where they've put all the coats on a bed and they're not just shitting the bed, they're shitting everybody's coats.
Yeah,
They just pass out on a pile of other people's coats
yeah.
and just have like and just and they've taken their pants off, so there's
Oh yeah.
like no
No,
barrier.
yeah. There's
And
no
they just
no one
pass out
between.
pantsless on a pile of other people's coats and just hose them down.
I think it's a little bit. I think it's shitting, pissing, throwing up, everything. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
everything
just
at once.
it's everything all at once. It's someone having it
Yeah.
very bad, and it's continuous throughout this entire, and it just keeps going. It's just like I don't know how
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to my coat. Everything's being ruined
It's
right.
just
Yeah,
all the coats are ruined now.
all the
Everyone's
coats are
coat.
ruined for 4 years. We don't know what.
Even the people, including the people who are like, we gotta invite him to the party. He's our friend. You have to invite him to the party. And they're like, well, your coat's covered in shit now too.
Yeah.
How do
Mhm.
you feel?
Yep.
No, he didn't do it. That was your friend.
But he's right there. You see it, right? Don't you see it? Like,
Oh, he wouldn't do that. You're just as bad as he is.
right.
And that's what it's like
That's what it's like.
every
It's
fucking day.
every
Um,
day. Yep.
but yeah, but point being is that sort of, you know, having some way to um
Get through the shit, you know, like
get
writing
through
the
the shit,
album and
yeah,
yeah.
get through the shit and have it be have some sort of like some level of happiness
Yeah,
to it, you know,
for
even if
sure.
it's like bittersweet, you know.
Even with the album art, you really kind of went back into that sort of, you know, I mean, see the picture on your wall, kind of
Hmm.
in that sort of art direction, and I love it. Like it's very reminiscent, but
Yeah,
still very it hangs true, and I like it. Kind of go into
thank
that
you.
and the direction you wanted to
Yeah,
go
yeah,
there.
you know, it's funny because it's like I have always like you know, Patrick Nagel art is such a generational thing, you know, it surrounded us as kids. It was like it was both on like album covers and hanging in like hair salons and in your dad's Playboys. You know, it was
Hmm.
this like odd thing that spanned these different spaces, you know. Um, and I like remember sitting on the floor of my mom's hair salon when I was maybe like 5, you know, and they were doing her hair and they were playing Cyndi Lauper on the radio, you know, and that Nagel, the one that's on my wall, was on the wall, and it was another one of those like sort of moments of like me sitting there and being like, "That's pretty."
You
I am like there is some sort of developmental attraction that's
you get
happening
zoned
here.
in on it every time. Every time I see one, I'm just like
Yeah,
you get sucked into it. It's
you get
weird.
sucked into it. It's such a like the lines of it, the like there's something that's just like so stark about it. But and again though, it was one of those things of like I'm attracted to that,
Yeah.
but I also want to be that,
Hmm.
you know? And I think there's something about the androgyny of so much of like Nagel's stuff, you know, that lends itself to that. Now, at the same time, you know, like Nagel is extremely fucking problematic. I mean, it is like literal whiteness,
Yeah.
you know, is the
Hmm.
only thing being represented here. Like that's it. Like one kind of body, I mean, it could be like cookie cuttered out, you know, of like this is a like the feminine body that is in every single one of these things, you know.
Yeah.
But like that being said, and you know, we like noted, it's still just like I don't know, it has some kind it is ingrained in me, in my sense of like gender and style and queerness and all of this different stuff.
Or like
Uh,
little building blocks. Like this is what kind of shaped me and helped,
mhm.
make me who I am. And I think that's you should be okay with paying tribute to that, where you're going,
Yeah,
this is
yeah, exactly.
this is me, like this
Yeah.
is why I who I am because of these little things. Like
And
that's
that was, and I'd wanted to do like a Nagel photo shoot
yeah,
for a long time. So Lane, who did the photos for this, I've worked with them going back to like the very first Hot Hail photo shoot that
yeah.
I did for the band in like end of 2024, I think.
Wow.
Um, and they're so great, and they're such a lovely person, and they're really easy to work with, and they have just an incredible eye, for a shot.
Yeah.
um and like we had done a few different photo shoots together, and I was like, oh, I really want to do a Nagel photo shoot, and I had sort of a vague idea of like maybe I'll use this for something down the road. um, and so we did the photo shoot, and some of the photos are based on specific Nagels, like that one,
Mhm.
and then some of them are more just sort of like, again, like pastiche of the idea of it. And so we did a bunch of photos and did a bunch of outfit changes, and when I got the photos back, um, I think in some ways it ended up really like pushing the direction
Mhm.
of where to go, because I was like, oh, I have to do the album that this is for
Yeah.
now.
Wow.
Like this is what I need to,
I got
especially
this
because
energy. Yeah, let's do this.
yeah, because basically it was like Lane took a bunch of photos and then sent them to me, and then I picked out, four or five, and I sort of gotten okay at Photoshop in the last couple of years doing
Cool.
this band.
Yeah.
And I was the one who went in and like figured out how to like give them that really high contrast, like where the photo looks like a Nagel with the really really white skin and the really really red, colored out, like everything in color is really in color, and everything that's skin and hair is just like jet black and white. um and then when Lane took some of those and then illustrated that version of them, that was kind of when the idea of like, oh, like I could take this, like the illustrations can be the single covers for the singles from the album, because I was already starting to kind of like think of it in that
Yeah,
way
kind of
then.
building that whole yeah.
Yeah, and then uh uh and then that's basically, yeah, and so then it was sort of this back and forth
Cool.
between us, of the different stages of it. And then I did all the layout of the physical CD and the album and everything
Do
for
you get a
this.
vinyl? Do you get a vinyl out for that one yet?
I didn't, because it's fucking expensive
So
right now,
insanely
because we
expensive. Yeah.
fucked ourselves in the Middle East and made oil expensive. And it turns out that vinyl is made out of petroplastics,
Oh my gosh.
partly.
I've been seeing
So
commercials for that. It's like everything's plastic, everything's petroleum. I was just like, why are we doing this now? Like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah, we
Ooh.
totally royally screwed ourselves with the
Oh, so, on
gas
so many
right now.
levels. So
Vinyl.
yeah, so no vinyl at the moment. I would love to, but it's just like it's so expensive, and like I mean, I don't even like I'm not touring or anything,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so I don't like, and I don't. I'll get to that later,
Yeah, that's fine.
um, but yeah, as far as but so basically it was just sort of this back and forth between us, like
Mhm.
collaborating to make the album what it was, aesthetically. um. And really, in a lot of ways, it was like when I saw that image from the photo shoot that is the album cover, it was like immediately like, oh, that's the album cover. Like that is the album cover for this, like for this, like that is like I had already written the song Hope in Hell.
Mhm.
I didn't know what the name of the album was going to be necessarily, but I was like I could hear that song playing under that picture.
Cool, yeah.
um and it's a I don't know if anybody picked up on this. Literally, the band title font and then the album title font
Hmm.
are exactly the same font from She's So Unusual by Cyndi Lauper.
You're right.
Uh-huh.
That's cool, and I got that vinyl up in my collection right now. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's like exactly the same. It's Hot Hail is the Cyndi Lauper font,
Yeah.
and Hope and Hell is the She's So Unusual,
Oh, that's so
even in the same
cool.
like color and everything
I'll
too.
see
I
if I
think.
can add that to the video, just kind
Hmm.
of show us side by side. That's so cool.
It
That's
was just like, because why not?
Why
It's
not?
fun.
Why not pay?
Yeah.
I mean, pay homage to the things that you grew up on. Cyndi Lauper is one of those like
Oh, she's
I
fucking incredible, man.
the
Like,
the more I dig into her, I'm in awe. And I watched the documentary about the what was that one where they all got together and did a song together with Quincy Jones.
oh yeah,
We
it
Are the
was
World.
We Are the World.
Yeah, and she was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
such a sweetheart the entire time. There's some people that really had their egos, even though they
Yeah.
said check your
Well,
ego at
because
the door. But she just sang so true and so
she
sweet.
was like a working musician, like session vocalist, and she like lived in Australia, I think, for a while, and like she was just like a fucking pro
She
for a
did
really long
wrestling.
time.
She did
Yeah,
wrestling. I did.
yeah. So I think she just was like she had that attitude of just like I was fucking lucky to be doing this, Like I'm not gonna take any shit, but I'm also like I don't feel like anything is owed to me.
And she was really like way ahead of her time. Like, very much in the you know feminist movement, alternative
Hmm.
girls. Like, nothing against Madonna, but there was this kind of like
Yeah,
and but she was just like, I am what I am. This is it.
yeah.
Take it or leave it. And I love people who are like that. I think that's
She
so
was
cool.
sort of like I always think of her as the sort of the more like readily um understandable by the public version of like a Lena Lovitch or a oh fuck. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm forgetting her
No,
name right now. German oh my God.
is it the German saint Nina?
Nina Hagen. Yeah,
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 Nina Hagen. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like they're all kind of a. Although it's interesting. Like you know, people fucking forget that Madonna was in punk bands
Mm-hmm.
in New York. There's a song. Someone did me the favor of like just playing this song for me blind called "Safe Neighborhood"
Mm-hmm.
and being like, what do you think about that? I'm like, that's a really good fucking like, who is that? That's like a really good fucking punk band. And they're like, that's Madonna's band from like 80 or 81 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I've never understood why she hasn't, you'd
Explored that
think.
more.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, it has sort of like milk that more like for the just like but like yeah, no, it's just like holy shit, and she's fucking snarling in that song.
Yeah.
but but yeah, there was such yeah, that was like that moment of there being this sort of like the crossover, like the first crossover of punk
Mm-hmm.
into popular culture. Um, anyways,
Yeah.
I can't even remember what, but
No,
yeah,
you're
so
good.
the album, it's uh yeah, I feel like in the same way that the pop becomes sort of a carrier wave
Mm-hmm.
for the political stuff.
Like pop music is like a Trojan horse for like tougher topics, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it a little bit easier to like,
Wallow.
it's not fucking napalm death. Just like it's like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, buddy. Like I can't. But it's also just this sort of bludgeoning. Um, and I mean, not that I don't fucking love napalm death, but
No,
it's
you're good.
yeah.
No, I love them.
But it's a little, it's just different. But
Easier
I
to
feel,
digest. Yeah.
and I feel like the aesthetic, like I kind of love making something that looks like it should be absolutely fucking vapid.
Yes.
It looks like it should be, you know, the fourth Duran Duran album where everybody's got a coke problem. No one has anything particularly interesting to say. There's maybe one or two good singles on it. And like but it is this, messy attempt at grappling with the collapse of Western civilization and democracy,
Yep.
you know?
Oh
Um,
gosh, that's
and that's
really
not all that it is either, but it's like,
right.
but it's, you know,
You like
uh,
something in that where it's just like there's something about that that you're drawn to. I totally get that. That's so funny.
yeah. And I don't know. That's like, there's something that's so much more fun about that. And to
Yeah.
be honest, too, like, fucking, I don't know. Like, I love Darkwave,
Hmm.
but there's something about it right now that just feels like, I mean, we're always unstable, right? We're a bunch of like um uh poorly managed mental illnesses and drug problems, and like all having like sex with each other and cheating and like it's like yeah, of course it's a fucking unstable like thing, but
Genre. Yeah.
it feels I don't know, more and maybe it's just where I'm at and maybe
Oh, yeah.
geographically, but it
Yeah.
just feels like more unstable than usual.
Sure.
And it also
Definitely.
feels sometimes like I don't know, it's this isn't this is not a blanket statement even though it sounds like it, but there's sometimes where it just feels like it's I love a performance.
Yeah. Of
You know,
course.
I love a band that can marry like really good songwriting to really interesting aesthetics and performance, you know? I like but I need like if you took any of the like within the really great period of David Bowie
Hmm.
and you removed all the visuals from it and you sent him out on stage and he was a frumpy fucking dude in like sweatpants,
Like a
and like
Joe
a
the Plumber kind of
cardigan.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if he was Daniel Johnston, but he was still playing and singing in the same way, it would still be fucking like mesmerizing,
Of course. Yeah. Like
and
wow.
like and I almost feel like the more aesthetically the more like sexy or glam or aesthetically like a thing you're doing, the more I want your music to rise to the occasion
Of course.
of
No,
that.
that makes sense. If you're gonna have that, like, you want there to be the balance. You
Yeah.
want the aesthetic. You want it. But if it's just like, oh, this just seems cookie cutter and kind of shallow and kind of, you know what I mean? Like it's like I
Or
feel
it's
like
just sort of riding on it. It's just sort of
yes,
riding on this sort of vague, ultra horny skronk, like slash mumbly, like everything is really dark, but I'm being very sexy about it. Like, and there's like not and like if you actually like read the lyrics on a lyric sheet, it's just like, oh, this is not good. Like you're selling this,
yeah,
when you do it, but this is not
yeah,
no thought went into this. No, and like and I don't know. I think like it's there's a certain so there's some of that in every genre,
of course.
but it does feel like there's some of that in this genre, and there also feels like Darkwave just has this sort of essential it's very reserved.
I think so.
It's
Yeah,
sort of
yeah, 100%.
it
Yeah.
operates within this fairly I always my metaphor about taking like Seroquel or like antipsychotics when I was on
Totally.
that for bipolar
Yeah.
is it's like a vocal compressor,
Hmm.
and it's sort of like okay, you're not getting any peaks and valleys, you're not getting any, but you're also not getting
It's like putting
spikes
the
that,
limiter on where
it's
it's
like a
this is
limiter,
it. Yeah.
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 But if you limit it too much, it ends up, it's like pop vocals in the 90s, where it's just like it sounds like nothing, Um and I think sometimes, yeah, there is a definitely like there's a very compressed emotional range sometimes that Darkwave operates within. Um and I don't fit that,
That's fine. I think
I've
that's
realized
okay.
over time that like I don't fit that and I'm not going to fit that and I feel like I'm a little bit too much for this scene, like I
But
feel
you're
like I make people
honest.
a little
Like
uncomfortable.
you're honest and you're authentic, and I think we
Thanks.
live in this weird time where they want to use things to sell it. They want to go, I'm using this aesthetic because people are listening to it. People are doing it this way. Like there's some where
Yeah, yeah.
you can
This is
go.
like a place to make money and this is a place
It
to monetize, you
Yes,
know.
that's what I think. And some of
And
these
I don't
dark
want to cast that I don't want to
no,
cast the aspersion of that judgment on like
no.
a lot of people and stuff, but it does, I don't know, it does feel sometimes it's just like I don't know, and maybe this is my own insecurity about it, but I feel like people don't know quite what to do
We've been
with
through a
what I'm
lot.
bringing to the table, you know?
Like musically,
And
we've been through a lot. We've seen a lot. We've seen
mhm,
the birth and the fall of a lot of different genres and a lot of different styles. And you'll see these come and go where the true ones stick and the others go, well, this isn't working in my benefit. They kind of fall off the cliff. And with Darkwave, you're kind of going, okay, when's the filtering going to kind of come through, and who's going to be the one that sticks around the longest, and who's the one that's going to go, well, I'm not, I'm not 100% true to this, and then they kind of move to something that feels like it's going to make more money, or
yeah, yeah.
does that make sense? Where
Well,
we've
and
been
like and also like there's that so there's also sort of the like, the difference between I mean, it's literally what I'm doing, where it's just like what's the difference between like vampirizing a genre,
yeah.
and then moving along when it's not, a thing anymore, or like evolving organically to something else, like
Mhm.
in a way I kind of felt like I wanted to do this now when it was the worst business decision I possibly could have made. I feel like anybody that was like that, if I had a fucking manager or like representation or some bullshit, I feel like anybody would have been like, well, you probably want to make something that's like not too far from what you did the first time. And I'm like, great, I'm gonna fucking just run off in this direction as far as I fucking can. And then
Oh,
at least no one can say that this was like market driven, because it certainly isn't. Not that I mean, like, I just crossed like 1,000 people on Instagram.
right.
I don't have like a fucking following.
Right, and it's a weird place to be on
I don't
social
I
media
don't know
where
how you get a following
I don't know
anymore,
either.
I have no
I'm
fucking clue.
I'm baffled. And
There's
I'll see
just
these other podcasts where they'll just talk about nothing. And
mhm.
everybody's and I guess you got to have people behind you that are doing the footwork. Maybe that's
Yeah,
it. Maybe
yeah,
I can't afford somebody that could do the footwork for me to get all I'm just going, I'm me. Take it or
yeah.
leave it. Follow,
And
don't
that's a
follow,
certain there's like a freedom in that where I'm just sort of like, and that's the other thing too, where it's like again, like the world is fucking collapsing, you
falling apart.
guys.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are we doing, like giving a shit about the micro monetization and the micro fucking like uh a
The little
performative
bullshit. Yeah.
presentation of our shit? Just like make what you want to fucking make,
Be
you
you.
know?
Because that's all
Yeah.
that's going to survive, and that's all that's going to be left is like, if you're making this nothing, then what's
Yeah.
the point? What are you wasting your time for?
Yeah, and I definitely like, I don't know. I listen to I try to keep my hand in, with mainstream
Me too.
pop
Mhm.
and everything, because I've always been a pop whore, always,
Yeah.
like I've never had what is interesting to me about like or what was interesting to me, when I initially encountered it about like punk was it's like, oh, this is fucking pop songwriting
Hmm.
being applied to all of this fucking like chaos basically, but the pop songwriting is still fucking there,
Oh, it's still
I
very
mean,
true. Yeah.
the fucking Sex Pistols were a boy band,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I still like I will fucking fight you to this day that like the Misfits were one of the greatest fucking pop bands in like of the 20th century,
100%. And he
and
stuck with
that's what
those.
they were,
Yeah.
a
Hmm.
fucking pop band.
Yeah. With
And
just horror aesthetics. Yeah. It was,
I've had dudes get pissed off at me for saying that, and it's like,
in
what
his
is the
book, he talked
what are you
about
being
being influenced
challenged
by
here?
50s and 60s artists. Like
Yeah,
his
yeah,
songwriting process was because he loved listening to those old 50s and
yeah,
60s bands. Yeah, you're
yeah,
100%
yeah.
right. Yeah.
But like, the point being is like I try. So I have no like pop music, but like, man, the last 10 years, it's like, I don't even know if we need AI to take over because like it fucking sounds like it already, you know?
Mhm.
Like if you went back to like, I mean, even like Beyonce, like there's something to hang your hat on there
Yeah.
in the
Mhm.
songwriting, There's like, or like old Madonna, or like any of, like there's so much like that's like good shit, like Britney fucking Spears, like Lady Gaga, like Gaga writes her own shit, like I've always respected the fact that she writes her own shit.
She
There's
went through the
real fucking,
trenches. A lot of people don't know.
oh
She went through
fuck
the
yeah,
trenches. I've
oh
seen her.
hell yeah,
Wow, she went through the
yeah,
trenches for sure.
that is a bad bitch, and she fucking like is a songwriter, and this shit that I hear now, like a lot of like watching some of these like Coachella performances and stuff, and like people where it's just like, and I have obviously like I fucking half my fucking live show is me writhing around like a fucking hoe,
Why not?
like I
Right.
am, I like I like I have done sex work. I have a lot of people in my life who I love who have been sex
Yeah.
workers. Like I got like I have nothing but fucking love and respect, but it's like I can't fucking tell the difference between like Addison Rae just seems like a fucking, like, is this an ad for your OnlyFans? Is the music thing an ad? Because it's like you again, it's not that you're going out there and being like super hypersexual. Fucking go for it,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Your music is not backing that up,
Mm-hmm.
you
Agreed.
know?
Yeah.
You are the presentation before you are the any of the songs,
Yeah.
Like it sounds like a like fucking AI wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like I mean, like if you can if you're a real fucking songwriter, if you're like writing like a song up to the level of like a Lady Gaga, like fuck on stage, I don't care, like go
Right.
for it, really fucking like take it as far as you can, but back it up with like actual songwriting,
No, I
Watch out.
agree.
Now the fucking Addison Rae stands, if they
Yeah,
catch
to be
hold
honest,
of this, they're gonna come for you.
it's fine. No, but one thing I did notice is where like even just old songwriters like Bruce Springsteen, he did a song for I think it was Minnesota, and it sounds like it was AI generated lyrics.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
like,
like
you're a classic.
cannibalizing himself. He's
Yes.
like cannibalizing. It's um this is okay, this is gonna get real dorky for
Go
a
ahead.
second here.
No, please.
It does actually tie back to the album too. So there's
Please.
this great fucking British author named Kim Newman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a film journalist, he's a lot of different stuff, but he wrote this series called Anno Dracula. And the idea of it being it's like a shared fictional universe, alternate history thing where Dracula wins at the end of Dracula. He marries Queen Victoria. Vampirism spreads in the world, but it's really this very human scale thing about like how the world is different with vampires in it, where it's all these different characters from different
Of
things.
course. Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, this is the
No,
long
please. No, don't ever be sorry for geeking out. Please always
there's a
geek
big
out.
runner in it of the idea that like one of the things that you give up when you turn vampire, the sort of one of the prices of that is that you can no longer truly be creative anymore. People can try, and they end up creating these things that are the sort of cannibalization of things that they did when they were alive. And the app and the like quintessential piece of art that this book series puts forward as like the ultimate version of this is the song Imagine by John Lennon. That John Lennon turned vampire and wrote this song because it's just like a greatest hits of what you did when you were actually a living person. And that's sort of, yeah, I heard that fucking Springsteen song and then it felt the same way where it was just like, also, I'm sorry, bro, this is fucking important.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just like, oh, he wrote a song about whatever, and it's like you are talking about a fucking moment right now that
Mm-hmm.
is like fascism rising in America and taking over. You don't get to half-ass a fucking song because it gets a bunch of people paying attention to you for a second.
Use it a
Also,
topic
what
to
was that
sell.
shit the other day when he was like I'm so thankful our president didn't get shot. Like, fuck you, buddy. Like at this point, You know what fucking Woody Guthrie would say?
Oh my
Your
God,
fucking
Woody
big
Guthrie had a
hero?
whole
Woody
nother
Guthrie would like fucking be pointing that gun himself. Thank you very much.
right, and it's gotten yeah, it doesn't. It's just unfortunate. It's just like, where is this going, and why do you have a say in any of this? And I get he can hold on to his politics, but
I mean, yeah,
what?
on balance, the man has done a lot of good in the world. He's a, like I like a lot of his
Of
like
course,
earlier stuff and
yeah.
everything, but yeah, it's like, yeah.
It just
Anyways,
felt fake, and I can't deal with fake shit anymore.
it's
That,
performative. It feels
that's
like a
so
fucking performance,
yeah,
and it's like, and I don't know, a performance that knows it's a performance can be fun.
yeah.
A performance in the midst of this
Mm-hmm.
is intensely offensive,
Yeah, and I think
you know?
the most authentic, and I really saw between the lines, was Nine Inch Noise's performance
Yeah.
during Coachella and the songs they picked,
Yeah, yeah,
because it went from a lot, from heresy to the stuff that he was talking about in Year Zero, where it was
yeah,
like, and it just felt like, okay, he gets it, like he
yeah,
understands what's going on, and it's like and even I don't know, I mean, I guess I just kind of went on this ramble, but it just felt like finally something authentic for once, a
yeah.
performance that was like, this is matching the time that we're living in.
Well, and it's hard too because it's like this is part of the problem of making political art right now
Mhm.
is that it's not going to fucking change anything.
No,
It's not. Like
no, it's
what we
not.
are dealing with right now, like this is like maybe where we get to sort of like buoy the choir, but like this isn't, I mean, I fucking, when I was a teenager,
Hmm.
I really did not like almost any of the punk bands of my own generation, right? Like I liked Rancid. I liked Rancid and Tori Amos. Those were my two wolves inside of me as a teenager,
Yeah.
which really, says a lot probably. But like but I loved the fucking Clash, right? And it was like, I was a little fucking thought I was a leftist in Idaho and like, yeah, and I loved that, it was had this sort of like a political like agenda or message and all this stuff. And the first punk band I had was like very, very Clash influenced, and the thing is that like over time you realize it's just like, yeah, like the Clash never started a revolution. They just inspired a bunch of other people to start bands that also talked about revolution, that then inspired other people to start bands that talked about revolution, that then also
Where's the
started.
revolution?
Yeah, like it becomes like a placebo against actual action.
Yeah.
And that was part of what was like, the difficulty or the complication of writing this album, where it was just like, I am trying to write something that isn't just miserableism,
Mhm.
but I don't want to fucking write, you know, Bruce Springsteen, we're all gonna rise up and do the thing, and yeah, and I've seen some fucking Darkwave bands do this shit where it's just like, and they're, I don't know, and like they're really pushing that this is like revolutionary. It's like, no, it's fucking not,
It's not.
you know?
Yeah.
Like it's not. The things that we're going to have to do to stop this
Mm-hmm.
are not things that we can talk about
Did talk.
on the internet.
Yes.
They just aren't anymore.
I
We
know.
are past all of that.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna vote our way out. We ain't gonna march our way out. We ain't gonna like. There is increasingly.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll really sort of see how bad this is in November.
Yeah.
I don't have high hopes,
I don't either.
but at that point, when it really comes to the point where it is obvious
Mm-hmm.
there will not be another legitimate election in this country,
Mm-hmm.
like there are things we're going to have to do
I know.
to avoid, being
Another repeat.
exterminated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so don't fucking give me your fist in the fucking air, yeah, revolution, like that's
I know.
that's yeah, that's not where we're at anymore,
I
sweetie,
I would
and it
have
just
thought, yeah, I would have thought after the Epstein stuff came out that people really would have been like, drop everything. We need to figure out what the fuck is going on. And it just went,
yeah.
it's bad how quickly people get so distracted and
The
don't.
problem is that it's not about him.
Yes.
He is like the symptom
Mm hmm.
of all of this,
Yep. Yep.
he and even all the people in his like cabinet. The problem is the people who watched him be what he is
Mm hmm.
very openly since 2015 and voted for him 3 times,
Yep.
that watched him come back after attempting a coup and voted for him again.
Again.
Like, those people will either happily watch us killed or they will look the other way while it happens.
Mm hmm.
And they are the same people who are going to obstruct any attempt to. I mean, we're way past the red line on climate change at
Oh,
this
I know.
point.
I know.
Like, we're already pretty fucked.
I
But,
know.
like,
I know.
they are the people that are going to obstruct any fucking attempt to do anything to save our fucking species.
Yep.
Um, they are not worth coddling anymore.
Yes.
And um, yeah, I like ultimately, like I said, the
Yes, I
things
get
that
it.
we are
We're,
going to
yeah,
have to do to get out of this are not things that
yeah.
we should talk
You're
about on
speaking
the
volumes
internet.
by not saying what needs to be said.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think we can all agree. It's like,
And that's yeah, and so that's so it's like, and I don't want to write an album about that
no,
either.
of course not.
I don't want to write a fucking album about that.
Not at
Like,
all.
there's, I mean, Article of Faith, that is the song that
That's it.
come
What it
that
needed
rubs
to
up
be. Yeah.
against that, and
Hmm.
that's what needed to be said, but I couldn't have written an entire fucking album about that. I want to write about, you know, the things that I want to fight for,
Of course. Yeah. And
you know?
let's jump into that. Let's talk about growing up because you're 80s 90s growing up mental disorder queer. Tell me about how you kind of worked through that and how you kind of came to your own. Are you okay with talking about that?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
please,
Yeah. I mean,
please.
geez. So that's so long.
It's a long story.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's tough because you know, growing up, like, bipolar is something you come loaded with.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chemical
Oh
imbalance.
yeah.
Um and so that means you can treat it with medication, and there's still talk therapy and there's still all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
But borderline it's like an operating system that you get loaded with over time and then can't ever really entirely get rid of, unfortunately,
Yep.
and yeah, I think um sorry,
No, you're
I'm
fine.
usually
Was
very
it like
articulate about this.
because it was weird? It was a weird time then where things kind of were a little easier to handle now maybe than back then because there I grew up ADD ADHD and it was just like, well, just pump the kid full of Ritalin and
Yeah. Yeah, I
that
grew up
kind
in
of shit.
Mormon country. I saw so many of my friends get pumped full of fucking Ritalin because that was just what you did,
It's ridiculous, yeah, and
And
yeah.
yeah, I think that there's definitely more of like there is an understanding culturally of neurodivergence,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um it is interesting, they're the ones like, ASD or ADHD that like are kind of like the okay ones, and then like borderline and bipolar still gets sort of like shuffled into the scary bad category. And I'm, I mean, it's all spectrum stuff. So like they're all of them are spectrum disorders, and
Yeah.
I am lucky enough to be fairly low on the borderline
Good.
spectrum.
Yeah.
A lot of that just comes down to self-awareness.
Got to
Uh,
talk it through. Yeah, you got to figure it out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I had some kind of sense of like, I don't think that the way my brain is thinking is actually the way that things are necessarily.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was always just a very I lived in my head as a
Hmm.
kid. I had a very rich, imaginative life that was a lot nicer than the world I lived in.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know, that's informed um a lot um of my spiritual, witchiness and stuff like that. I am not a literalist about any sort of spirituality. Um, I think really what it comes down to is that like the singularly human, as far as we know, ability to imagine worlds and people and gods and stuff that does not exist
Hmm.
and has not ever existed and never will exist, and yet by the level of our belief in it shapes reality like supermassive material, we bend around it like a black hole, um, is a miracle in and of itself,
Yeah.
you know? And I think that we downplay that or we poo-poo that at our peril,
Hmm.
you know? But I don't know. I feel like I'm just like all over the place
Oh
right
no, you're
now.
fine. Like I said, it's if I mean, if there's some things that are just like, well, I don't know, kind of go into
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
That's fine. And it's tell me about mental disorder. It's hard to talk about and not kind of keep digging and digging. Tell me about growing up queer, and tell me about kind of how you felt like you kind of came to your own. I've had transgender on here,
yeah,
and I've had some that kind of just really go into some. One person I had on here was like going through all the procedures. Like I had to
yeah, yeah,
go here to get this done, that done. I had to pump myself full of this, that, and it's just I like hearing your story, and not
yeah,
just that, but you're still alive. Like there's some
yeah.
that unfortunately it gets so bad that they try and end their life, and you're not one of them. So I'd say talk
Well,
about
I
your
I
your
t
your
tried and
story.
failed, luckily.
We've all been there, trust me, but you're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
alive, like I
Still
get
alive.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think that like a lot of it took me. I kind of wish I could see who I would have been if I had grown up in another cultural milieu,
Mm,
because the nature of my queerness and my gender queerness is very uh it's subtle. I I only came out as non-binary like 4 years ago, or no, 3 years ago.
yeah.
Um and it's but that wasn't even a term
No, you just
that we
were.
had.
Yeah.
It wasn't, for such a long time I felt like I had no right to that word because it's like, well, you're presenting as primarily masculine,
Hmm.
most of the time. So what right do you have to this word? I don't want to be like, like wearing the flag of other people's daily struggle as a decorative cape,
It's always on a
you
spectrum.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it took a while and I had to be kind of encouraged in that and stuff. But I do think that like I mean and the song Weird is really like largely about this, where
Hmm.
it's if you are born with a penis in this culture,
Hmm.
um everything that is feminine about you is literally beaten out of you
Hmm.
from the moment. from before you can walk, you know? Like anything, like it is, you are forced to like see it completely as other
Mm-hmm.
and sort of drive it down into the dark, you know? And all of us are, you know, a like masculine and feminine are words that we have hung on a collection of very amorphous things, you know, because
For,
we need labels for stuff. But, you know, just like, you know, sort of going with those labels for the moment, you know, that it's like all of those aspects that are really part of everybody.
mm-hmm.
The idea that that is just sort of half of you is ripped away
Mm-hmm.
when you're a kid. Um, and you go through life, you know, the most dangerous thing you can be as a little boy in this country is feminine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
no, you, no,
that
you're
is
right.
the
You're right.
single most dangerous thing that you can be.
And it's sad that
Um,
it's heavier now, where you deal with the manosphere and deal with these uber masculine. It's just like, all right, take it down a
yeah.
notch. Like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and now like it's like, you know, in so many parts of the country, like they're on the lookout for it in a way that they weren't before, you know, because they have a name they can hang on it or something. But, you know, and the thing that the effect of that is that it's like you take a planet and you halt its orbit so that it's always only one side of it is facing the sun
Mm-hmm.
always, and one half of it is in darkness, and it's not even allowed to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that and the thing is that like this isn't just a trans thing, you know. This is everybody born with a penis, you
Mm-hmm.
know. This is you don't have to be like you if you don't do not have to be trans to have a feminine aspect to you, you know. And so it's taken away from everybody, and the damage that it does is that it's there's so many different kinds of damage, but one of the most interesting kinds I think that there is that you externalize everything feminine about yourself into the women who are around you. And when you are reaching for them, what you are partly reaching for is the part of yourself that you are not allowed to acknowledge. You know it's been taken from you. You know that it's been, you know, and so you are trying to touch it in something that's external to you.
Yeah.
But because you've been taught to hate and denigrate and not look at that part of yourself, you're never going to be able to fucking love it in somebody else.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think that I don't know, like, and that does so much fucking damage. That
Mm-hmm.
does so much fucking damage. That did so much damage for me. I watch it doing damage for other people, you know, where it's like you were like, and I don't think it's talked about enough, you know, as part of the conversation around
Of
this.
course.
But the other part is that I don't know, I feel like for me, I went back and forth, you know, between I mean, honestly, like, you know, I was involved in like burlesque in my early 20s, you know, and then I kind of left that for a while, then I came back in my 30s, and then I kind of left for a while. It's really sad. A lot of my feeling capable of expressing my femininity has unfortunately gone hand in hand with times when I've been skinny
Mm.
because I've had a lot of weight fluctuation through my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, again, this is what's fucked up about Nagel, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you can be androgynous and feminine, but you have to like have this body, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, there was sort of a coalescing of the start of this music project, me losing a bunch of weight, you know, like feeling like I could really like deep dive into that. And it was I mean, and it's really good. It's really great. There is this sense of like, I mean, what that song Weird is about is the idea that it's a love song and it's being sung by that feminine part of you that was taken away.
Yeah.
That she's like singing to you saying like I am your one true love. Like it's not something external to you,
Yeah.
and I've been like waiting for you this whole time,
Wow.
you know. And I'm still here, and like and I'll always be here.
Yeah.
And like that's a fuck. I mean, I talk about it now. I still kind of like get a little bit like misty about it. Um, and what's been interesting is that, I ran as far into super femme presenting in this project, especially, in the first year of doing it. And now I'm finding that it's like, oh, now that I've like done that, I feel like it's like an option, like be or presenting like a little bit more like masculine is like that's like a fun option rather than a something that's expected
Sure.
of
Yep.
you. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like now it's like, oh, this can be fun again
Mm-hmm.
rather than a thing that, I feel like I have to do.
Right.
Uh, and I often, I joke that I'm always Gina Gershon on the inside, but sometimes I'm Gina Gershon in Showgirls, and
Yeah.
sometimes I'm Gina Gershon in Bound. Like
That's
those are the two wolves inside of me, the
yeah.
two Gina Gershons.
That's so great. Tell me about how you met up with Jeffrey and how he kind of became your producer.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so Jeffrey McNulty, I have known him for like or been acquainted with him at least for a really long time. Jeffrey was in an amazing band in the 2000s called Blood Hag.
Hmm.
And they were educore. They all wore like, like sort of like librarian outfits with glasses and, and like white button-ups, and all of their song titles were just the name of a speculative fiction author. And then the lyrics were just a biography of that author, but delivered in the most like brutal, like metalcore,
Yeah.
like way possible. They would throw paperback books at the audience while they played. They did a whole tour of public libraries. Um,
So
and
cool.
their motto was the faster you go deaf, the more time you'll have to read.
I love that. That is so
Them
great.
and Captured by Robots were like the two
Oh yeah,
great
Capture
shtick
Your
rock bands of
Mm-hmm.
like that era,
Yep.
basically.
Oh,
Like,
I love Capture Your
um,
Robots.
and fuck yeah, Captured by Robots
So
is
great.
amazing.
So great.
Um, but so we kind of knew each other through that, and then in 2011, I had been doing for like 10 years at that point this genderqueer misfits cover band called Glen or Glenda.
Hmm?
And that year, we decided to record some of the songs, some of our Misfits, because we would do like Misfits covers, but then we would do covers of other people's songs as though they were by the Misfits,
Whoa.
or
Yeah.
covers of Misfits songs as though they were by like other like queer artists. And so like we had a cover of like Scary Monsters by David Bowie, and we had like a cover of Some Kind of Hate, but it sounded like Morrissey. Um, and it was super fun.
So fun.
um but we and I did that's which is part of what that Glenda EP that I put
Yeah,
out
I have
is
that
like
written down.
a
Yeah.
very much a sort of continuation of. So I worked that was the first time I worked with him, and we just like got along really well. And a couple years later I was in a band called Bat Country, that was the doom Americana, very kind of Nico Case, Tom Waits, Nick Cave sort of stuff.
Fun.
um and our bass player had been killed in a mass shooting at a place here called Cafe Racer that was sort of our cheers. And we had recorded uh, sort of demos of all the songs with him, and we really wanted to, finish it and make it. And so we took it to Jeff, and were able to, with him overdub certain things, and just basically like make an album that worked, and it was a real undertaking, and it was a very different, like Jeff tends to play in like the hardcore and metal world, but he has an ear for a lot of other genres.
Wow.
And then um in 2016, I did what was supposed to be my first solo project, that was very kind of indie pop type stuff.
Sure.
And it didn't really, did not, it got made, but did not proceed really for a number of reasons.
Okay.
But he was, again, just like, I don't know, it's like he and I have just learned how to work with
Sure.
each other
Yeah.
really well. And but yeah, Jeff is, and also Jeff has his own, one of his many bands, called Test Frenzy, that we did a cover of Dancing on My Own, by Robin, where I did the vocals on it.
Oh, cool.
uh that we released. We got to do that at the album, release show, last weekend, which was really nice. We haven't done that in a really long time.
That's cool.
Mhm. So, but yeah, Jeff is just, I don't know, like he has an ear, you know, for a lot of different kinds of music.
That's awesome. And
And
it just somehow just like was perfect for this project. And it's just like I would if I listened to this album and then listened to Jeff's, I would have been like, wait, what? Like
yeah.
he just it can go from one to another. I think I love that
Oh yeah.
musicianship. That's so cool.
He's played, like, in so many different things. And he said actually that working on that backcountry thing, just all the sort of the technical and stylistic things of that, was a really big learning experience for
Mhm.
him, and kind of realizing how broad he could go
Yeah,
stylistically with things. So,
cool.
uh, but yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I got two more questions. I'll let you go. I appreciate your
Oh
time. You've
yeah,
been
hey, I'm not in a
amazing.
hurry, man.
Okay.
I'm fucking enjoying this.
No, you're
So
good. So where do you hope to see, Hot Hail in the next 5 years? You got any big plan? I know you said you were talking about another album. Kind of where do you hope to kind of
yeah,
see it as it
I
progresses from here?
mean, God, like, removing, complete collapse of the country, from the possibilities. I honestly have no fucking clue. I
Okay.
mean, I think I've gotten to the place where, like, you know, I think I do not think I can progress much past here
It's fine.
without help from somebody, whether that's management or something like that,
Mhm.
or even like a tour booking agency. Like, I tried to book a tour last summer,
Mhm.
and I just had no luck. I've all of my like good luck in live shows, especially,
Mhm.
has just come from other people asking me to do things.
Oh yeah.
Um, Whenever I try to put stuff together, it just does not, or I reach out to people, like, it doesn't. I tried to get like a show in LA last summer, and it was just like
Yeah.
no fucking luck at all, you
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
Um, and and also, I just like, I spent my 20s booking fucking punk tours and
Yeah.
shit,
Yep.
and there's a part of me that's just like, I don't fucking want
I don't
to.
need to sleep in a van anymore.
No, I don't want to. I mean, I would love to tour. I would love to get out and play more, but I also know, if your fucking toilet explodes, you call a fucking plumber,
Yep.
And that's kind of how I mean, that's not, comparing something, yeah,
No, I
but
know what
just,
you
it's
mean. Yep.
like, I would so much rather do it the right way with a professional and pay some money to do that,
Of course.
than like fuck about with it. But it's also a matter of, like, there's a lot of people out there who say they can do shit.
I get that.
um
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I would love to, like, I've been doing this long enough that I have no illusions about, like,
Cool.
you know
Yeah.
it would be great if I did. I will work hard with this. Like, obviously I already am. And I'd like, if but yeah, I mean, I don't really see, it would be nice to be in a position where I am doing some kind of tour at least once a year, where I'm putting out an album every year or two, and like, I'm doing like fun collaborations with other people. Um, I am, like, uh I don't know, like, just, it would just be nice to be able to, like, have the room to grow, Like,
Good.
I don't want to keep doing the same sort of thing forever, you
I
know?
get that.
I
Yeah.
get bored.
I had some artist on, and she's just like, I don't even. I feel like I have too. My expectations are way too high, and I just can't meet those. And I'm putting a lot of weight on myself now, where it's like, how come I can't get that? How come it's just? And she's like,
Yeah.
I think I'm just kind of going. Can I just? I'll just be more fluid and maybe step away for a while and just kind of see where things go from here. And if
Yeah.
opportunity bites, then I'll take it. If anything else, just be thankful for kind of where it's at right now, and hope for
Yeah.
the best. And I get that.
I think I would like to probably play with other people. I have like talked to a few people about even just
Cool.
like live bass and live, because I have had to, if you see me live, I'm just all over the place in
Yeah.
the audience and doing shit all the time because if it's just me and backing tracks,
Mm-hmm.
then like it can't just be me singing karaoke
Got to
up
be
there.
performative. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I have Emilio DJ Reptile House. He's like my DJ now,
Cool.
which even having one other person just to sort of buy in
Yeah.
on the stage, like it has that does something for people.
That's cool.
Um, but like, yeah, I mean the most immediate thing is I have a couple collaborations with some other musicians that we've been talking about for a while and just need to like finish up um, uh, with Void Warmer, who he's now in Ex Velez, which is like getting big pretty fast in Seattle.
Yep.
And we've had a song that we worked on last year, but we're gonna put some lyrics on it.
Sweet.
And then yeah, and then the next album, which is I have no idea how this one is gonna
I'm excited. I can't wait to
go
hear
over.
what's in store.
It's a concept album about how familiar are you with the concept of Gnosticism?
Not, I know, but not as like you know. I know what you
Yeah,
mean, but not like this sort of broad, like, oh, yeah, So,
yeah. It's it was the sort of Plato-derived philosophical thing of the basic idea that like the reality that we exist in is not really the full reality. It's very Buddhist in a lot of
very,
ways.
yeah.
And there was a very, very early thread, at least as old as the version we got of Christianity, that integrated a lot of that school of thought and was really fucking weird and way more interesting and way more like um healthy in some ways,
Sure. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and really what the and I'm not a literalist about anything, it's the the album is approaching that and but that sort of story, but really is about the way that the gods we choose um shapes our politics and our culture and ourselves as people. If you say um God's a king,
Mhm.
God's an emperor,
Yep.
God's a ruler and an owner, and therefore that means you have to like follow emperors and rulers and kings on earth, um and God came to be human to die to sort of guilt you into being better,
Yes.
as opposed to this thing that called itself God wasn't even God really in the first place. This was just sort of our ego projection, of the universe. Um, and came to experience humanity, realized that he was full of shit, and died in order to free humanity from its own ego. Like, and gave up power.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really like what would the world built on that philosophy look like? I wonder sometimes. And I'm sure we would have found some way to make it horrible,
Yeah.
but like it's just sort of that is a thing I have been fascinated with since
Cool.
I was a kid, since I was going to that evangelical Lutheran school and was just like, why would you choose to believe in God
Yeah.
if this is what you're going to believe in?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
this is a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Like an obvious monster, like not
Oh yeah.
even like a subtle monster.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I agree. 100%. Yeah.
So yeah,
Jeez.
so that's kind
That's
of that's the
exciting.
I'm trying to just like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, it is sort of funny. I'm entering this like grub mode right as I've released an album whose entire aesthetic is like pristine
Yeah.
femme, like high femme, and I'm like, I just want to fucking like, I just want to wear some jeans
Yep.
and relax
Yep. Hey,
and
you'll find your place in there. Don't worry.
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, I think if most people, again, after seeing this podcast, I think people go, you know what, that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, just you do you, boo boo. I think that's all we want out of you. One last question. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
Thank you
having fun.
so much for your time.
Yeah, of course,
For
Justin.
anybody who's watching this, anybody who's a fan of your music, anybody who just kind of wants to get away, what words of advice do you have for them? I know. Sorry.
Oh, geez. I think um I'll stay on theme. I th- you know, I this album is about hope. It does not have any real answers to that.
Hmm.
Um I wrote this because I don't know what hope exactly looks like at the moment. And I don't know if I found it exactly, but I do think that the best thing you can do is within our communities of weirdos with it, and people who mean well and want well and want, you know, and are not actively seeking our demise or imprisonment,
Yep.
is just to be kind and um, patient and have grace and look for your Venn diagrams with them. Look for the places you overlap where you can. That doesn't mean you got to put up with people being dicks,
Of
but
course.
like that also doesn't mean that we have to tear each other's fucking throats out over every variance that's between us. And when I see that kind of kindness, when I see that kind of overlap in the world right now, like that is what gives me hope because without that, we're doomed.
Yeah. And I think
And
it's okay to do good things, but without an agenda.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah, I I I think I mean God, where is the line between existence and performance at this point now?
Yes.
We're all so curated all the fucking time.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think just I am probably the worst person to ask this question because I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I was
Oh no.
like crying my mascara out the other night about fucking shit going on in the world.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, and I guess, don't from a less political standpoint, um, don't ever let people um tell you what your art can be,
yeah.
you know? If you want to be fucking goofy, be fucking goofy.
Hmm.
Like we need more goofy. We need
Or we
more.
need more Weird Owls out there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, or just like it's like things that it's one thing to take the art seriously.
Yeah.
It's another thing to take yourself seriously.
Yep. Agreed.
And I think it's always a good thing to like take your art seriously, but like don't take yourself too seriously.
I like that. That's perfect. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate
Thank
your
you,
time, man.
Justin.
It was so
Yeah, you
great to
too.
have you
This
on.
was so fantastic.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
have you
really.
on again for sure. You've been
Oh, yay!
so
Cool. That would be fun. Yeah, we'll have like current events
we'll do
podcast.
something for sure. We'll talk it up. I do. It's been great. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Justin. Thank you. I'll yeah, I'll chat with you later. So.